And now it says preparing for live stream.
This meeting is being live streamed.
Mercury has drunk a lot of Gatorade.
All right, especially today. That bitch is drunk. Super duper.
This is unbelievable.
You ready?
I mean, we're going. So, I mean, like,
Make sure my audio.
I just want to, I'm waiting for the thing to pull up so that I can share it out. Oh, that's so irritating.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to trim several minutes off the front end of this recording. I think that's Stanley popping in there too.
This week on the Media Virus podcast, I'm announcing my beef that I have with Big Daddy.
I had this idea that I didn't present to Stanley yet that I thought would be really funny. Is that he didn't want to roast you, so he left it to me.
I forgot about that.
So he left it to me to roast you.
No.
And then I was gonna be like, okay. And then I'm like, Stanley thinks that you're a whore.
And yeah.
And Stanley thinks you're stupid.
Stanley said.
And I was just trying, like, not, and I don't really think Stanley thinks any of those things.
All right. Let me know when we're ready.
I mean, we're going, might as well go.
Okay. Everybody quiet on the set. This week on the Media Virus podcast, the bad news is you have cancer, but the good news is we're giving you herpes. Excuse me. This week on the Media Virus podcast, the good news is you have cancer, but the bad news is we're giving you herpes. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy said may have ruined his credibility with a chilling confession. 2 out of 3 Indian commercial pilots admit to dozing off in the friendly skies. That's bad numbers when there's usually only 2 guys up there. All this, more news, just the tips, and we add pumpkin spice to a cast member. As the World Pea Farmers Council reminds you that with autumn upon us, you could add some penis to your soups and stews. On this, the 99th episode of the Media Virus Podcast. It's the Media Virus Podcast. Let's point and laugh at the world burning around us. With executive producer Mike Latoris. We'll do an outro, and then do our wrap. BBC correspondent Stanley McFadden.
Makes me tingly in an unfamiliar way.
And the Scorpion Goddess.
I'm a Scorpio, but secretive. I just don't say a lot of shit.
And now, spreading the sage nihilism of an aged Gen Xer, your host and mine, the star of our show, the incomparable Matty Rockdef.
I had no, but I was, I kind of wanted to, and whoa, that's new.
Hot damn, do we have a show for you people this week. I am Matty Rockdef. Welcome to the Media Virus Podcast. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share. Joining me on the video panel this week are the executive producer of the show, the Reverend and Professor Mike Latoris, our metaphysical fitness expert, the Scorpion Goddess Juliet Everett, and our unbeaten Peter Pete. On the phone, I believe we do have our BBC correspondent, Stanley McFadden, along with the other half of the diversity duo. What's her name? And what's her name has a pretty big celebration coming up. And that got me to thinking that, as we age, we encounter so many things that kind of makes sense, but kind of don't. For example, my dad's 91 years old, and a couple decades ago, probably around the age that the doc's about to we're about to celebrate that birthday. My father was diagnosed with bladder cancer, and what the doctors, Mike, do you have any idea what the doctors did?
Did they give him herpes?
No, they didn't give him herpes, but they did inject tuberculosis into his bladder, and it was dead, but your body goes to fight it with the tuberculosis germs. As a byproduct, it would fight the cancer. And also, my father used to have terrible psoriasis, and now psoriasis is an overactive immune system, and what cured that was leukemia. Except he actually has leukemia.
I'm sorry, but who'd have thought?
Yeah, well, because leukemia is it works on your blood cancer.
Sure.
It works on your immune system, so it's not really a workable option. But I think we may have found a pretty workable option with herpes.
Well, yeah, genetically modified herpes virus is delivering a 1-2 punch against advanced cancers. A new genetically engineered virus has delivered a 1-2 punch against advanced cancer in initial findings from a phase 1 trial. Researchers found that RP2, a modified version of the herpes simplex virus, showed signs of effectiveness in a quarter of patients with a range of advanced cancers. Patients on the trial had cancers including skin, esophageal, and head and neck cancer, and had exhausted other treatments, including by failing to respond to checkpoint inhibitor immunotherapy.
We can cure your cancer, but you're just going to be covered in sores.
Well, the early findings presented at the 2022 European Society for Medical Oncology Congress, ESMO, as they call it, suggests that cancer-killing viruses could potentially offer hope to some patients where other forms of immunotherapy have not worked. They're working on testing the safety and dosage of RP2 at the Institute of Cancer Research in London. The Royal Marsden NHS Foundation Trust assessed the cancer-killing virus on its own in 9 patients, and in combination with immunotherapy, nivolumab, in initial 30 patients in the ongoing phase 1 trial. The early stage study, sponsored by the drug's manufacturer, Replimune, is testing the safety and dosage of RP2 as well as evaluating its ability to shrink tumors. So, I mean, that's pretty spectacular news if you can just get a little bit of cold sore virus to kill off your cancer. It's not genital herpes that they're giving you. It's
I know, but this is in our lifetime. In our lifetime, herpes went from like something that got you ostracized from a social situation, whether it was, if you had a cold sore, nobody wanted to come near you. And
still that way, but go ahead.
Yeah, and like if if you had herpes, like you were supposed to tell people.
Well, yeah.
So Matty, yeah. How have you dealt with your herpes?
Well,
until now he hasn't told anybody.
I mean, I get cold sores when I'm sick. But I've never had that type of issue.
If you get a cold sore, do not give anybody head.
No, I'm well aware. But it went from
this.
It went from a this thing that was supposed to be like a life sentence and an STD that got you ostracized to a mild inconvenience to a cure for fucking cancer.
And nobody tells you when you're a kid that, when you have the chicken pox, it's herpes.
Right.
Wait, what?
Chicken pox. It's a herpetic virus.
What?
So is shingles.
I got
chicken pox. Chicken pox is also herpes zoster. It's the exact same virus that produces shingles as an adult.
Yep.
So
I know you get shingles after chicken pox.
Yeah, I always
if you
knew
have
that.
had chickenpox, you've had herpes
Yeah.
by definition.
What?
There you go. You've all got herpes.
In fact, they treat shingles with Valtrex.
It's true. No.
People don't get chickenpox anymore because they have a vaccine now.
I got news for you. People still get chickenpox.
Well, I
People
mean,
still get
but they have a
chickenpox.
vaccine now. They didn't have one.
Didn't they have a vaccine like 8 million years ago too?
They
For the
had a
chickenpox?
vaccine then,
Yeah.
and they had a vaccine then. I got chickenpox twice.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get it because I got the chickenpox. We had chickenpox parties at preschool. Okay.
Right, that's what we did when I was
Well,
little. My
essentially,
mom
yeah.
took me and my brother to. When I was little, my mom took me and my brother to. I remember it. It's one of my earliest memories is actually going to this kid's house to get the chickenpox.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because,
one
well, it
had
was
to just
basically-
let them all get it at the same time.
There you go.
I think your mother didn't love you, Doc.
Well, we could have a conversation about that on another episode.
They
I
were going to
remember-
get it eventually. They just speeded up the process.
I know when I got it, my mom was like, she told my sister, like, go talk to your brother. So, I mean, when I was a kid, there was not a viable vaccine for chickenpox, and from what I understand, until the past couple of years, there wasn't, because the one that was out on the market didn't really work.
All this talk about chicken pox, it's got me thinking, like, my mom made the best goddamn chicken soup. And like when you were sick,
Right.
I mean, everybody, chicken soup is, they call it Jewish penicillin.
Yeah.
But my mother used to make the most delicious chicken soup, and oh my God, well, especially when you're sick, it tastes so good.
Mm-hmm.
With like an end of rye bread, especially if it's stale.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I've been called weird.
I mean, when Easter comes around, I buy the Peeps as soon as they hit the shelf, and I cut the cellophane and put them in the closet up high.
Oh yeah, get them stale. Stale Peeps are the best.
The only way to
Stale.
eat. I
Way to
can't
go,
stand
Mike.
fresh Peeps.
Way to go, Mike.
Waiting for the punchline, Pete.
There is no.
Okay.
I'm totally agree. I'm completely in 100% agreement with the professor on Peeps are delicious, fresh, but if you cut the package open
Peeps-
and let them go, let them go stale,
terrible.
they're even better.
There used to be when you used to buy a good Philadelphia soft pretzel used to mean something. First of all, when you bought a Philadelphia soft pretzel, you bought it off a homeless man that had not washed his hands in 15 pisses. Okay. And he just took a piss behind the shopping cart full of pretzels.
Out of a shopping cart, yes.
$5 for $1. And you buy them
Speaking
$5 for
of-
$1, and they might be fresh. You don't know. They might be stale. And if they're stale, they're so good. I get shit on all the time for liking weird foods, like stale pretzels, stale cake. I like my soda flat.
But there are some things that will interfere with your credibility if people find out.
Since you brought up Philadelphia,
these
you want to know something? When
Sure.
I was little, I thought Philadelphia was like the country because of the cream cheese. So I was like, the cows come from Philadelphia to make the cream cheese. I didn't. Yeah. This was a long time ago, but so whenever anyways.
No,
that's my
actually, that's
Philly
true.
fact.
Philadelphia cows. It's actually true. Philadelphia cows are a specific breed. You can't breed them with other cows because they're so fucking aggressive that if you get any other cow near them, they'll kill it. They'll actually knife it right between the ribs.
Wait a minute, hold on. Where do you find cows in Philadelphia? Tell me.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you. Mike, can I ask you a question?
Pete, they're mostly in Cheltenham.
Mike, let me ask you this question. We were doing the pre-show meeting and all the shit we were writing.
Yep.
And I said, I'm gonna find a way to steer the fucking conversation.
Yeah.
Into the next story.
I was
Remember that?
I was trying to let you have the hole to get there.
Yeah.
Cow, and then using steer is a good way. It's like a pun.
It is.
Good job, Matty.
Except we missed the turn when Mike started to read and you started to tell that story.
Okay, Matty, take the bull by the horns and just spit it the fuck out.
That's Mike. Why don't you read the next story?
So Surgeon General
Really an awful lot of bullshit.
Surgeon General Vivek Murthy has made a chilling confession, and I really think it speaks to this guy's credibility. I think we need a new Surgeon General. He said he prefers cones without ice cream.
I'm glad we moved into this direction.
And ice cream fans are screaming over this chilling admission from the Surgeon General. He said he's all about the cone. The physician
It was the funniest fucking thing Juliet's ever said. It tied everything together.
It did. He said it might be an unpopular opinion, but he loves ice cream cones without the ice cream.
He is utterly off his rocker or something.
Well, he tweeted this on National Ice Cream Cone Day, and other people on Twitter were pissed. They said that's 2 giant scoops of missing joy. And maybe he should just go eat waffles.
You remember?
It sounds like a bunch of bull to me.
Probably.
I mean, we've all just eaten cones. I mean, it's happened, right?
Sometimes you don't. You don't have the ice cream. Like you go, you get the cone. You're like, oh, who the fuck ate the ice cream?
My kids like to eat ice cream cones sometimes. So they're like, can we get ice cream cones? And they'll just eat the ice cream cones because we won't have ice cream.
This sounds like poor people shit.
Right?
Are we talking sugar cones or cake cones? Because I think that's a significant issue that merits discussion.
Connie brings up a very good question.
I agree.
Sugar cones are better, but growing up, like my Nana would always have the waffle, like the stack of ones.
The cake, they're called cake.
Yeah,
cones.
the cake cones. I don't really like those, but she always had them, so my kids always get those. But then the sugar cones, we all know they taste better, but because my Nana always got those ones, we get those ones.
No,
Does the
I
article
prefer sugar
define?
cones.
If for eating it with ice cream, I think the cake cone is the way to go because it's got that little grid in the bottom, and you get the ice cream in the grid. And then when you take that last bite, the ice cream bursts out of the sharp, it's delicious.
So you might think bursting in your mouth?
But just for the taste, I agree with Juliet. The sugar cone is where it's at.
But if I go somewhere like Newport Creamery here in Rhode Island, it's really good. I get, you know what I get? I mean, they got good chocolate chip waffle cones, but I really like their fraps.
Okay.
You guys would call it a milkshake. The coffee one, so good. I want one now.
You know, some coffee might be good for the airline pilots of India. Apparently, 2/3 of them have fallen asleep. 66% of them have fallen asleep while they're flying. A survey by Safety Matters Foundation has found that a majority of pilots working in the Indian airline companies have been suffering from daytime sleepiness, which is generally triggered by extreme fatigue. Among the 542 pilots who took part in the survey, 66% said they have dozed off during their shift hours in the cockpit. They have either experienced microsleep or unintentionally fallen asleep in the cockpit due to fatigue. Now, I'm not real sure what microsleep is.
I think it's when you're asleep, but aware of what's happening at the same time.
It's when you kind of doze off just for a second.
Yes, microsleep is when you have that head nod, but you don't know how long it lasts.
Yeah.
I used to do that all the time.
I woke up. Go ahead.
The other profession with a very high percentage of microsleep, unintentional, nurses.
I wonder how long those pilot shifts are that they're, or do they work irregular schedules? Like, I mean,
Probably.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can find out. Fatigue is one of the main reasons attributed to airplane accidents, and the study reaffirmed the fact that pilots are not coping well with the pressure that comes with their jobs. With companies looking to work with less than adequate workforces, timings have gone up for most pilots. The survey was conducted by a nonprofit organization, Safety Matters Foundation, and it included pilots from India flying with regional, domestic with destinations within 4 hours of flying. Let's see.
You guys want to see a good movie about pilots and flying and plane crashes?
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
No. It's got Denzel Washington in it. It's called Flight. He's like a alcoholic, drug addict, whatever. But he's a 747 pilot, and he crashes it. Well, he safely crashes a plane, if you can do that. Actually, the guy who did with the landing in the whatever in the river,
Sully.
Yeah, Sully. That was a good movie too. But this movie will make you want to rethink ever getting on an airplane again.
Thanks for just reinforcing my fear of flying.
According to the survey,
glad I could help.
Pilots earlier had to fly 30 hours per week, but now they can fly back to back once every week. That has resulted in added stress on the workforce, resulting in more fatigue. Based on their responses, it was found that 54% of pilots suffer from severe excessive daytime sleepiness, while 41% suffer from moderate daytime sleepiness.
I mean, most of the time, you really don't need to be awake to fly that fucking plane.
Yeah, it's
really, it's just the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The rest of it, you could probably just doze off.
Well,
you know what I mean? Join the Mile High Club. Do whatever you got to do. I mean, maybe
I think. I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, like, don't they have auto landing systems now?
Well, I know that most of it's automated, but their pilot still has to be
there,
in
case
there was just a story not too long ago about pilots just completely missing the airport. I think didn't we talk about this last week?
We did.
Yeah.
Completely missed.
Yeah, just completely missed it. Just flew
overshot.
Right over the airport. Yeah.
Wait, remember the kid who was like, I play a lot of GTA, and he saved those people and landed the plane because the pilot was drunk. He's like, yeah, I play a lot of GTA. I flew a lot of planes on the game. And he actually did it, and it was funny.
I've watched lots of videos of the planes coming in for a landing and then side turbulence and watching these planes jump 50 feet to the side, but still manage to land.
That's why you need somebody who's not sleeping to land it.
Right. That's why you need somebody, you need to wake him
up 15 minutes before, let him splash some water in his face so he can land the fucking plane. I mean,
let him do a rail of Coke or something,
that's what I'm saying. If we could just pump him full of meth, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Hey, it's a great idea.
Let him sleep every 11 days. It's fine.
My cousin's a pilot.
Your cousin is a pilot?
Yeah, I have a cousin who's a pilot.
Is he a commercial airline pilot?
She's a girl. Why would you assume it's a guy? That's sexist.
You set me up.
No, I didn't.
Because you said my cousin is a pilot.
You did not. You totally set him up, Juliet.
No, I didn't. You guys
Scorpion goddess. Sorry.
Going to assume it's a man.
All right. Well, then why did you say my lady cousin is a lady pilot?
What? Well, my lady cousin is a lady pilot.
Yeah.
You set
me up to assume it was a male.
I mean, you don't know.
You should have said my cousin. She's a pilot.
The doc is going to pipe in here and point out that is androcentric hegemony that we've just witnessed. That's the fancy word for
I'm sorry.
the
What?
assumption. Androcentric hegemony.
Okay, Gesundheit, doctor. Because
Yeah, I mean that if you talk about a person, we're going to assume that person is in this case male. We'll probably also assume that the person is white and heterosexual.
She is white.
There you go.
But a girl. I think she is straight. She's dated some guys.
She identifies as female, is what you meant to say.
Well, she is a cisgendered female.
I think we've just probably ruined any chance of having her come on the show.
I don't really.
You don't really talk to your cousin?
I don't talk to pretty much every single cousin I have.
Dude, they get like free flights and shit though, pilots. They can go anywhere they want.
I don't have any problems with her, but we don't really talk at all.
Oh well.
All right.
Sorry to hear that.
But the rest of my family.
While Julia gets her family relations together, we're going to...
they know how I feel about them.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
That means you can let me tell everybody how I feel about them. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you here at the Media Virus Podcast, and we thank you for joining us in this A block. We're going to bounce out of here right now. We'll be back very quickly with the B block just after this.
So I am excessively more angry, Mike.